Well, hey, it's day 3 of our 30-day Messie draft. Just to recap, on day 1, we talked about starting from the end, starting from the beginning, or starting from the middle. Yesterday, we talked about the collecting draft and approaching these 30 days in this first week, like going to the beach, like you're collecting beach glass, except you're not collecting beach glass. You're collecting story fragments. You're collecting insights and ahas and things that at the end of these 30 days, you're going to be just like, oh, I'm so glad I said those, that specific list of 30 things. And so today, I actually want to talk about writing, like what it takes, what it feels like, where to start when your hands, touch the keyboards or your pen, hits the page. I'm curious, just because we're starting, when I say I want to talk about writing today, what just happened in your head? What do you think? What are your beliefs about what writing looks like? What you think writing should be, or what you've been taught that it is? What's your experience of writing? My hope is that over these next 29 days or 28 days, that will blow that up, just explode it. Because what I know writing to be is simply putting words on energy, or putting words on an impulse, using words to communicate. But writing isn't always about communicating. It doesn't need to be. There's a time for that, and we're going to get there. Probably not in a Messie draft. A Messie draft doesn't need to communicate to anybody but you. And even that, it's a Messie draft because it doesn't even have to communicate in a way that it makes sense to you, like 1 + 1 = 2. A Messie draft can be 1 + 1 = 8. You're like, you get to the end, you're like, well, how the hell am I going to get to 8? Right? But your Messie draft, that's where it landed. Because remember, the Messie draft is about listening. It's about pulling forward what wants to be said that currently lives unsaid. It's going to be surprising to you. It's not for a reader yet. So writing, for me, sometimes, honestly, just feels like finger painting. I plop an idea. I don't even know what the hell it is yet. I've got this idea. I see a flash of a red petal. I see a rose petal. And so my brain goes, great, I'm going to start with that. There's a pile of red rose petals in front of me. I notice that the petal is soft, and I decide to blow into them. Like, I have no idea, right? I'm just exploring. What is this rose petal? And so like if writing is finger painting sometimes, it literally is just moving things around. I don't know what this is yet, but this feels good. I'm going to keep following this writing because it just feels yummy. Writing can be that. Writing can also be, some of you, and you know who you are, because if you work with me, well, you're drawn to me because you write like this. Many of you write in what you call downloads, meaning you show up to the page and literally like words have just been flooding in, and you're just trying to chase them with your hand on the page. Have you ever felt like that? Right? Where the words are coming faster than your ability to even understand what they mean. That is also writing. Now, some of you writing, it might look like, I think about my dear friend Christina and my dear friend Carolyn, who write like they're pushing an elephant through a keyhole. Because writing in the instrument that they are comes fully realized in their mind, and then they've got to take this thing that's in their mind and get it onto the page. So writing for them is very slow because they are crafting they're crafting a multi-dimensional experience for the reader, which at this point is just them, all at once. It's like writing and editing at the same time, and I do not recommend that. But if you are that, if that is the artist animal you are, then let's celebrate that, and let's give you lots of space and time to write like that. There's no right way or wrong way to do this. Writing can also look like, some of you write before you write. Meaning some of you are, if you're like my partner who's a comedian, who thinks in the equation that, like he thinks in the equation that the sentence is, which is actually the equation that the paragraph is, which is the equation that the page is, which is the equation that you get me? That is the chapter, which is the equation that the full act is, which is the equation that the full book is. Like his brain goes, and so most of his writing, a lot of his writing happens before he's even doing this. Because he's thinking and he's figuring out cause and effect. That's another way to do it. I totally do not do that. That is not what this writing instrument does. But again, there's no right way or wrong way to do this. There is your way, how you do this. Now note that in the 30-day Messie draft, the focus is on the Messie. So know that everything you hear from me is going to be about building the muscle of allowing the writing to happen. Building the muscle of, again, letting like your whole lived experience and your whole sensory awareness of what you've seen in your life, heard in your life, felt in your life, do more of the heavy lifting. So you don't have to do all the math and have to be perfect before your words hit the page. That's the muscle that a Messie draft is, and that's why you're here. So I'm hoping that you are going to explore a bit and color outside the lines and see where it takes you. Writing, you'll notice I'm not giving you any, this is how you write. What I'm offering you are different examples of what might be how you write. And you're listening for, that does sound like me. That does sound like me. I'll give you a couple of things, though, to help set you up to write. Number one, write where there's an impulse. Like, oh my God, if you've got an impulse to write, sit down. If you only have 3 minutes, fine. Serve the impulse. So that's one thing. When you feel like, oh my God, I got to write this down. Oh my God, do you write it down? Even if that means pulling your phone out and saying the thing, say the thing into the phone. You will get a transcription. You know that, right? If you have an iPhone, your voice memos actually give you a little transcription if you go up to the 3 dots up at the top. So like write, if that's what happens for you, talk into your phone. That's fine. Pull that transcription and put it onto the page. So write when the impulse hits. That's why if you listen to yesterday and I talked about having little pieces of, pads of paper at different places in your house so that you can write. Do that. So number one, write on the impulse. Number two, write when you don't have an impulse, but you said you would. So carve out a time in your day, every day from now until the end of the month, where you've carved out, your 30 minutes or your 8 minutes, your 8 minutes a day. Writing when you don't have the impulse to write is just as much of a muscle as writing when you do have the impulse. And honestly, it's interesting. We often say, oh, it's just not there today. Oh, I don't have the impulse. Here's what I notice. When we write on impulse, often we're actually only writing like this funky little concept. We're not writing a scene. So honestly, when we write on impulse, I find for most people, when they write on impulse, it's a short-lived thing. When we sit down to write simply because we said so, often more words come out. More, not less, more. So write just because you said so. Sit down to a blank page. Sit with, what do I want to write today? Even if you don't know, go, great. What's one of the things on my list of 30 that I can sit down and describe? Start with a description. That's another way in. I'll get back to descriptions in a sec. Another way to start your writing is to have a question that you're answering. So, the great one, honestly, we've heard this a zillion times, that why is the sky blue? Well, because of this. Well, why is that? Well, because of this. Well, why is that? Because of this. And you can cascade. You can write through questions by cascading, and you keep going until things start to level. I love that about writing. For me, I often write, with a question. The last big theater piece that I wrote was called Oh My God, and it started with the question, why are women so self-conscious? And then I went, well, why am I so self-conscious? And then I thought about, and I didn't do this, it wasn't like I went hunting for why am I so self-conscious and instances of that. But that's what happened. As soon as I sat with the question, why am I so self-conscious? Memories flooded and moments. One of them, again, if you watch, oh my God, you'll see it there. I've got this whole scene around lighting a fire in my house and feeling like at the time I couldn't have somebody, a man in my house who wouldn't take over the fire. I'm like, wow. And that came up. Then there was this thing about eggs, this whole thing about, I was once many times I led a retreat called Live Your Best Story, and noticed that we always did hard-boiled eggs in the morning in this retreat. And I couldn't make hard-boiled eggs without every woman in the room telling me how to make a hard-boiled egg. I was like, wow. And so it's like self-conscious showed up there. So, and then there's of course, at least 15 of them in that show. But that was the question. And that question brought me scenes that I could explore. Did I know if those scenes were going to work? No. Did I write them anyway? Yes, I absolutely did. So writing with a question is another way to get started. Another way to get started is writing from what you know. And you'll rarely hear me say this, because I find that writing from what you know, it can be very short-lived. You only know what you know, and then the story's over. However, from a place of starting your writing, it's like right from your vehemence. You are vehement about this thing that you know. You could even soapbox it if you want to, like be really indulgent about it. You could do a rant if you need to. And those are great devices to kind of explode you. But what I'm really trying to get at is there are books that open from a place of knowing. And while they're not, the author isn't trying to ram it down our throat, you can tell when the book opens that this person knows what they know and they're speaking from that place. So that's another way that you can start your writing. Another way that you can start your writing is right in the middle of action. So if you've got a scene in your head that connects to the theme that you think you're exploring in these next 30 days, take me right into the middle of that action. Don't set it up. Don't set it up. Take me right into the fingers in the door slam, right into that moment. And then describe to me what's going on. Take me right into action. Another way to start is with dialogue. Dialogue is huge. Tell me what you hear. Tell me what is the conversation that you heard. Start the writing from there. Now I'm going to go back to describing. So again, as you sit down to the page to fill in your 8 minutes or fill in your 30 minutes or 90 minutes or 3 hours, whatever it is that you've got going on that day, one of the easiest way to start writing is to tune into your senses. And it's interesting. It's like, I want you to know that writing is no different than wondering. Writing is no different than what happens inside here as you take in information about what's going on in the room, right? Or as you set up your Monday and you open up your calendar and the whole time your body's listening to, how do I feel? What am I noticing? Oh, what am I thinking? What am I feeling? What do I want? What don't I want? All of this is happening at the same time. That is writing. The difference is you are letting us in as the reader on that whole multidimensional moment. So you could start writing simply with description. Tell me what you see. You could spend a whole 8 minutes just talking about what you see. You could bounce around. I see this. Now I notice I'm feeling this. And again, I'm putting this, it could be like first person, like you are living it at that moment. It could be a character. You could say the character is living it. What are they seeing? What are they feeling? What are they hearing? What are they noticing? What's going on in their head? What's their inner monologue? Writing is simply making life visible through words. I don't want you to worry about if it sounds good, if it's poetic, if it makes sense. I don't care. This is a messy draft. This is simply about getting the kernels of all the central pieces onto the page. So, how do you write? You sit down, you ask a question, or you know a thing, you wonder about a thing, you feel a thing, you decide a thing, you talk about a thing, you describe a thing. That's all you're doing. That's all you're doing. All right? So, day one, figuring out how to start. And what we're really doing in the day one is we're like, what is the essence of this piece that's calling me forward to write? Day two, we talked about collecting, like just picking up the shiny things, and not shiny things, distracting things, shiny things, juicy things. And today you're going to learn, you're going to practice writing about those juicy things from some way in, describing, remembering, wondering, talking, telling. And you just write until you feel done, until you're done. Let it go. Next. All right, day three of our 30-day, what am I calling this now? 30-day November Novel Jam. Did I call it that? I keep messing it up. Writing November Novel Jam. Maybe I am. November Novel Jam. All right, friends. Have a great writing day today, and we'll see you tomorrow.